Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray and I help people go through their ascension process. In this video, we're going to talk about the real reason why people after 30 get fat, chubbier, even obese sometimes, and I'm going to give you a few exercises and a few personal awakening notices of how you can actually avoid that and what to do if you are already there and struggling. So, stay tuned. So, have you ever given much thought to the fact that most people after 30 or after 30 years old start gaining weight? And of course, it's men and female alike. It's a really nice round number, 30, because it represents something in the numerology of why we actually get to that certain age. Around that age is the time that most people start getting married. Most people start their second life. Second life is a life with more responsibilities, with a career. Because if we'll look at it from a mental, objective perspective, scientific, if you will, we will see that the human body only degenerates and only changes its metabolism in about 2% in a decade. That means 2% for every 10 years. So that means less than 1% for each year. And what does that actually means is that we are changing in our mind much more than in our body. When you go into any gym, most of the people who exercise are in their 20s. Now, after 30s and 40s and 50s, you'll see a reduction in the number of people that actually exercise. Why does this happen on a psychological level? The reason is that when we get married, when we have more responsibilities, when we have a steady job, and we always have this story that we tell ourselves that we don't have enough time to take care of ourselves. So one of the reasons is that when we used to work out, when we used to take care of our external appearances, it was for a reason. And that reason was taken away from us. One of those reasons is that in our 20s, we're looking for that special someone. And eventually we find that special someone, so the motivation is no longer there. The second reason is that we start neglecting. We tell ourselves that story, the old program, that we don't have time, and we don't really understand how important it is to take care of the vessel. We understand it on a hypothetical level, but we actually neglect it, and we let it go as far down as we possibly can in our priority list. So when I'm talking about the fact that we get lazy, the fact that we don't care about our external appearances as we did before, that all depends on our internal mechanisms and our own belief systems. Why? Because if our love was big enough, we would understand that we want to look beautiful for our partner. And it doesn't have to be that we're taking them for granted, because we do sometimes. You know, in every typical marriage, people take each other for granted. And even if you're not, maybe by now you have the high watermark of the cells. In other words, when you get bigger or when you add weight and when you lose more muscles, your cells become addicted to the present state. But the beautiful thing is, if you ever remember that you used to work out and then you stopped and you used to work out and then we stopped, when you went back to working out and being in better shape, even if we're talking about being more strict with your diet or with the things that you eat, you probably noticed that the cells remember, they have a memory. So your muscles have a memory. So you're not starting from absolutely nowhere. You're actually starting from the place that you almost left behind. In other words, to explain this, when you work out, say you work out 1 month and you add, 10 kilos, 20 pounds to the weight that you lift for a certain muscle group. Next time you stop for an extended period of time, when you go back to working out, you won't have to do the same whole month. You will be able to go back to the same strength and the same repetition and the same weight much faster than before. Now, the cells have a memory. That means that you can do that. But if you neglect it for a long enough time, they won't be able to do that. So what I'm actually telling you is that if you are in your 30s or if you're in your 20s and watching this and you understand what I'm talking about, this is the time to take action. Because once you get into that, you can say abuse of the physique and abuse of the mind as well, because the mind, body and spirit, they all go together. It's downhill and you won't be able to go uphill anymore. Because once you start doing that, it's really, really hard to go back. It's really hard to go back. So the first thing I can tell you is persist with what you have right now. The second thing is look around you. The reason that you added that weight, or the reason that you might open your mind and understand. If you're 25 now and you have this amazing physique and you look amazing, you feel amazing, remember the tips that older people are giving you. I'm almost 40 years old and I'm telling you now, when you get married, you might abuse your body a little bit. Maybe when you have a child, you won't have time. Find that time. Put that 1 hour a day for yourself. You know, it's not only about eating right, it's about exercise. And the reason that we get chubby and fat is because the people around us, our friends, our very good friends, everybody starts going out. Everybody stops hanging. Everybody stops exercising. Everybody's doing this all together. And that's why we feel more comfortable with it. We feel like this is the norm. This is what happens to people. That's not true. It's really not true. It's a very individual choice, and we need to take individual responsibility for our choices. And this is why I highly recommend that you become more aware. Now, when you stop blaming other people, when you understand that you're not doing this only for yourself, you're doing this for your spouse, you're doing this for the people around you, you're doing this so you can live a happier and longer life down the road. Because again, if you neglect the physical body, then you're probably neglecting the spirit, because they're all connected in some way. So once you become more aware of the fact that people around you are getting fatter or are adding weight, if you want to be politically correct, you don't have to. You don't have to eat what they're eating. You can choose something else. It's not going to make you not normal or alienated. It's going to make you a person that loves his body and appreciates his life. And eventually, when they stop ridiculing you or making fun of you, they're going to ask questions and they're going to be proud of you, and you're going to be their mentor. And it doesn't mean that you're going to explain. Sometimes being a mentor just means that you are behaving in a certain way that teaches other people just by the way that you are. And remember, in the beginning, like Gandhi said, in the beginning they do make fun of you. And then they fight you because they don't like the fact that you're doing something different than they do. And in the end, they embrace you. This is, for example, what happened with veganism from the 70s. This is what is happening now with vaccinations in the world, with breatharians. This is what is happening with the people who want more peace and quiet, with the Beyond Meat cooperation. This is happening all over the place. So become more and more aware of your responsibility and start taking that responsibility and not blaming the society around you, you know? There is a difference between the biological age of an individual and his actual age. In other words, how much his body is young, how much his body is actually old. Because you can see, and the difference, by the way, is 15 years plus or minus. That means that your biological age may be 40, but you can behave like a 55-year-old, okay? Are not really interested in doing any exercise or walking around in nature or breathing, sometimes even grumpy. Or you can be 40 years old, the same biological age, but you can have the body and physique of a 25-year-old. You can exercise, you can meditate, you can do the breathing exercises, spend time in nature, you can hang around other younger people, just like your mental attitude is. And the same thing with, you know, a 20-year-old. A 20-year-old can have the physique of a 30-year-old. And you know this because you have friends that are older and look younger, and you ask yourself, how is that possible? So their body is in a better shape, either if it's because they're mental or their attitude, if it's because their vibration is higher, or they exercise and they treat the body right. And also, it's about how you do it. Because if you're trying to get a lot more muscle and you think that's healthy, that's not healthy. When you're actually adding a lot of muscle mass, you're changing your metabolism. You're asking for much more. You're asking for more blood to get to certain places in your body. And you're actually doing the opposite of what it is that you want, which is longer life. People who have a lot of mass, they're not necessarily healthy. You should read about that, and I'm probably going to do a whole video just about that, because there's a huge misconception in external looks. People will think that they should be huge or anything like that. That may be beautiful for them, but even girls don't like them that huge. It's very rare. Most girls just like people that are fit. So my friends, I really hope that I concluded this to you, so you take more responsibility for your own life, so you understand that it's not about the metabolism, it's not about, the science has proven that it is much more our habits and our programs as we shift through a certain age than it is our actual body that is changing in any way. I hope that you took even one small thing from this video, because that's all I need to make myself feel much better about the content that I'm adding. If you want more of my stuff, it's on raymaor.com, including my schedule, where I go to teach every month in a different country, my breatharian initiation, my breatharian group initiation, which changes people's lives and raises their vibration. Namaste, and I will see you in my next video.